Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. And today we are going to be discussing the Proteas T20 World Cup squad. The squad was announced this morning, at 10 o'clock South African Standard Time. And Rob Walter held a press conference to release the squad and to discuss it as well with the members of the media. On today's show, we're going to be revealing that squad and we're going to be discussing all the players that have been selected. But we're also going to go through Rob Walter's press conference and we're going to have a listen to what he had to say about the squad and what he thinks about it. I'm also going to go through the press release as well to give you some indication of the thoughts from Rob. In that press release, there has been some quotes as well as the West Indies T20 squad for the West Indies series. So there is quite a little bit to talk about on today's show. If there is time at the end of the show, I will make the link available for you guys to call in and come have your say as well. You can give me your starting 11s, you can or squads, and you can also tell me which players you thought should have been in the squad and which players you thought should be out of the squad. So that's going to be the procedure on today's show. But before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell for all future videos. We are streaming now live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So if you are watching this on Facebook, go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe there because majority of our live shows will be on YouTube. I will try and do a couple on Facebook as well to bring all of our fans together on multiple platforms. So go ahead and do so as well. We also have a monthly magazine, which is the bread and butter of this particular company, and that's cricketfanaticsmag.com/monthly-magazine. You can get your copies 100% free straight to your inbox. Every single issue, every back issue, etc., will be available to you 100% free straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing the T20 squad with you guys. A very good evening. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine, and this is your daily cricket show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and today we will be discussing the T20 World Cup squad, who we would like to have seen in the squad, who has been omitted, but we'll also go through what Rob Walter has discussed regarding this. He held a press conference this morning, and we are going to go through that press conference as well as the press release to give you guys some background on why this team has been selected the way it is, etc. So we're going to kick off with the press release and then I will reveal the team to you guys as well. So White Ball head coach Rob Walter has today announced the 15-member squad for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 to be played in the USA and West Indies from 1st to the 29th of June. We know already that South Africa play their first match on the 3rd of June. Aiden Markram will lead the side in what will be his first World Cup assignment since being named T20 international captain. The squad includes two uncapped players, DP World Lions batter Ryan Rickleton and Hollywood West Dolphins fast bowler Otniel Bartman. Rickleton finished as the leading run scorer of the second edition of the SA20 with 530 runs at an average of 58.88 for MI Cape Town, while Bartman took 18 wickets in 8 matches for defending champions Sunrisers Eastern Cape and is currently with Indian Premier League franchise Delhi Capitals. The team will also benefit from expertise of batters Quinton de Kock, Reza Hendricks, Heinrich Klaassen, David Miller, and the promising Tristan Stubbs. Leading the pace attack will be Kagiso Rabada and Anik Nokia, supported by Marco Jansen and Gerald Coetzee. Other notable selections including 3 frontline spinners in CSA T20 Challenge winning captain Bjorn Fortuin, Keshav Maharaj, and Tabraiz Shamsi. Pace pair Nandeberg and Lungigiri have been named as traveling reserves. Rob Walter, firstly, I want to congratulate all the players that have made the cut, said Rob Walter. Selecting this group was extremely tough considering the amount of T20 cricket that has been played recently and the form that has been on show. I want to congratulate the two uncapped players, Ryan and Otniel, on their selection. We have seen some incredible performances from our players in 2024, and that made my job very tough indeed. I'm nonetheless proud and confident that we have named the strongest possible squad that no doubt has every chance of success in the West Indies and USA. Walter has also named a provisional squad for the preceding three T20I matches uh, against West Indies. The group will change and have players added to it when management is aware of IPL player availability. The provisional squad will assemble for a week long camp from 13 to 17 May at the Center of Excellence in Pretoria. The final squad set to be announced prior to their departure on 18 May. Walter added, our preparations for the tournament will start with a three-match T20I series against West Indies. For this tour, we will unfortunately be without most of the players who are currently involved in the IPL. But it does provide an opportunity for others, especially those who excelled in the CSA T20 Challenge. A captain for the group will be finalized closer to the time. So let me first read that squad out to you because it is the most current situation that we are dealing with. The provisional squad against the West Indies will be Otniel Bartman, Matthew Brzezinski, Bjorn Fortuyn, Riza Hendricks, Patrick Kruger, Vian Mulder, Lungin Gidi, Ngaba Peter, Ryan Rickelton, Andile Pechlakwayo, Tabrei Shamsi, and Rassi van der Dussen. So that will be the squad that is going to be facing uh, the West Indies later this year. So now we're going to get into the reveal of the World Cup squad. And I think let's get straight into Rob Walter's press conference and react to it because he does announce it on there as well. So I'm going to reveal that squad to you as we listen to Rob Walter's press conference and react to the press conference as it goes along. So here we go.
Yeah, it gives me great pleasure to announce the ICC men's T20 squad for this World Cup, 2024 World Cup. The squad will be as follows. Aidan Markram, captain. Otniel Bartman, Gerald Coetzee, Quinton de Kock, Bjorn Fortuyn, Riza Hendricks, Marco Janssen, Heinrich Klaassen, Keshav Maharaj, David Miller, Heinrich Nortje, Kagiso Rabada, Ryan Rickelton, Tabrei Shamsi, Tristan Stubbs make up the 15, and we'll be taking two travelling reserves, and that'll be Nandre Berger and Lungi Ngidi.
So
the squad for provisional squad for West Indies, please bear in mind that that will be impacted by IPL player availability moving forward. So there could be names.
Very good morning to you and welcome to the squad.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on there.
Could be names added to the squad as we go along. Otniel Bart.
So I've read that out already.
Last year, historical performances a bit further back than that.
Great. Thank you very much, Rob.
Cool. So that's the squad announcement. I'm not going to play you Rob Walters reading out the names for the West Indies series. But so far, let me just give you my take on the squad as a whole. I'm actually very happy with the balance of the squad. I'm actually very happy with the squad that was selected. There could maybe be certain aspects that I think we need to talk about, and that's maybe someone like Vian Mulder is a little bit unlucky to miss out on this one, seeing that they obviously did not select Andile Pechlakwayo as the all-rounder. You could see clearly by this particular squad that transformation targets were not in the equation. Only one Black African player was picked in the initial 15, and that is Kagiso Rabada. So the rules around the Black African players, that was waived, and we haven't seen that make any impact on the squad selection. So Rob truly believes that this is his best 15. That's what we can take. Also, given the fact that we are hearing that the conditions in America or the USA as well as West Indies are going to be a little bit slower, and that's why going with the extra spinner is a great choice. Now, I'm very chuffed for someone like Bjorn Fortuin. I think he's played excellently for the last 3 years in this format, and really, I feel deserves an opportunity to be in the squad, and I have to give them credit for that. But having 3 spinners and including Markram 4 spinners is a safety net from the conditions perspective. And I think that's what the direction that they've gone with. Now, Keshav can bat a little bit and Bjorn can bat a little bit as well. So that does give it, and as well as Gerald Coetzee. So I think they're looking at it from that perspective. And I also feel that they really do back the ability of someone like Marco Jansen with the bat. He's proven himself now quite a few times in T20 cricket that he can really take that position and make it his own. So overall, I'm very happy. The concerns of Andrich Nokia, there is a little bit of concerns with regards to their fitness, but I'm hoping that this particular IPL will give him the match fitness that he needs ahead of the tournament. That will give him obviously a massive boost for his fitness. But having 2 traveling reserves and both of them being bowlers in Nandeberg and Lungingidi is a very interesting one. Me personally, and fit Lungingidi should be in the first squad, and we can wait and see and hear what Rob Walters' thoughts are around this particular matters. So I think the best time for us right now is to actually react to Rob Walters' his comments about this particular squad, and then we can see and react to what he said and whether we agree with what he had to say. So let's get into the questions from the media and Rob Walters' responses.
Now I would like to open up to the floor for questions. Who would like to take the first one? Great. We'll start with Nathan and then followed by Morgan.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Good day, Rob. Rob, what factors were used to pick the World Cup squad? I was looking at the averages and other relevant stats over the last year of potential picks. Was there criteria of the composition of the squad?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's various criteria that go into selecting squads. Past performances, the performances this year, the performances over the last year, historical performances a bit further back than that, makeup of squads, potential conditions that we are going to balance. So yeah, I mean, those are all the factors, and then the good old fashioned coaches gut feeling on a pick along the way.
Thank you, Nathan. Morgan?
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, Rob. Rob, just your thoughts on the venues that you guys are going to be playing with, because the USA is going to be a totally new game for most of these players, and it's going to be quite interesting to see what, especially that stadium in New York, has got to offer.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly exciting. Going to a new venue that's literally been created for the World Cup. I think what that does do is, it creates a sort of a level playing field from a conditions point of view, because no one really knows what we're going to get. So the ability to respond to those conditions quickly is going to be imperative. And then moving into the West Indies, St. Vincent for our final game. And then, depending on where we finish in the Super 8s, hopefully is, a mixture between Antigua, St. Lucia and St. Vincent again. So sort of a broad variety of conditions. We do know, much like India, really, that West Indies can throw up a very varied number of conditions. So, to have a good balance and have players who play well in all conditions is important.
So we look at that squad and we look at some of the players over there, and I guess that they've covered all bases when it comes to that. They really look to cover all bases with regards to the conditions that they will see as well. So that's a good thing from that perspective, I think. We have to also look at the spinners. It's important that we see that they've gone with 3 spinners. That kind of determines what Rob thinks about the conditions, etc. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward so far from Rob Walter. Just giving straight answers on that one.
Thanks, Morgan. For those, then Kaniso.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, Rob. Rob, I'm just wondering if you could talk us through how you made your decision on the guys who will make up sort of the top order. Obviously, there's been some conversation around Faf and maybe Matthew Britsky's done quite well as well. So how did you land on the guys that you've landed on?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously Reza has been the star performer for us in T20 cricket. Was a standout in this domestic CSA T20 challenge again. Quality cricketer. Quinny, yeah, we've seen him do it time and time again for us. Ryan Rickleton, he's had two outstanding competitions really where he's played the brand of cricket that that we're looking to play. So, and then we go into Aidan Markram, and that'll be the top order, the top four, depending on the makeup of our side. So yeah, I mean, really mostly performance-based decision, and from Quinton's point of view, just a real knowledge of what he's capable of.
So performance-based decision. Now, we had a lot of discussions on last night's show and previous shows about who can make up that top three. And when I look at the likes of Matthew Britsky has been talked about, we were talking about as well, Riley Rousseau maybe coming back into the squad again, and Quinton de Kock. A lot of us predicted that de Kock was going to be a definite selection for Rob Walter. I think a lot of us predicted that, even though some of us would have actually considered maybe leaving him out of the squad and then bringing in a guy like Matthew Britsky straight into the squad over there. But Rob has gone for that experience in the top order. You already got a little bit of inexperience in Tristan Stubbs in that lineup. You've already got an inexperienced player like Ryan Rickleton in the squad. So he's gone with Quinton de Kock as he's a main guy over here for the experience. So it's good to know that Rob probably had a conversation with Quinny and that he's been selected and he's keen to play in this World Cup. So let's continue.
Thanks, Fidos. Kaniso.
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. No worries.
Rob, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Rob, just take us through the selection of Neil Bartman in particular. Understandably so that we don't know how the New York pitch will play, but it's probably one of your better picks for the slower West Indies surfaces.
I mean, look, if you're going to talk about someone who's forced his name into a squad, you'd have to talk about Otniel. I mean, over the last couple of years, he's been outstanding, but in particular in the SA20, I felt, he was a cut above the rest. He really showed himself as a quality death bowler in particular. We've seen, particularly in the last couple of weeks in IPL, being able to manage the death is going to be critical. So he's someone who offers that speciality in his skill set. But to be honest, if you look at the numbers, he's been successful through all the phases of the game. So, he's worked really hard to get his name into the mix through sheer performance. And, it's a pleasure to be able to reward those guys when it happens.
I'm very happy for Neil Bartman. That's a player that I really, really am ecstatic for. He's worked really hard over the last couple of years, and I've been very impressed with his performances. His control, the Yorkers that he bowls. He can bowl the penultimate over, and he can also bowl the final overs. He can also bowl with a new ball if you need him to. But I think his skill set really works very well and complements the rest of the bowlers in the side and in the squad. So when you select your KGs and Andrichs and Geralds and Marco, Otniel Bartman can replace any of those guys and still keep the essence within the team and what they can provide as a bowling attack. So from what I've seen under pressure, Otniel doesn't really seem to be bothered too much by the pressure. So I think that he's an excellent addition to the squad, and I wanted him in the squad. He was in my initial preliminary squad as well, so I'm very, very happy with Othniel Bartman's selection. It was between Othniel and Nandre Berger, in my opinion, for that slot as the newer bowler in the side. Both players are excellent, but when I look at the roles in the team, Othniel Bartman's ability to be able to have change ups as well as his execution of the Yorker at pace, and he can bowl swing. I think he's a brilliant addition to the side. So well done to Rob for actually braving it out and giving a newer guy an opportunity in the squad.
Thanks, Kaniso. Ken?
Thanks, Lucy. How's it, Rob? Rob, just you mentioned the IPL, and obviously we've seen a extremely high scoring, record-breaking IPL. Are you expecting similar things in the West Indies? And does that then speak a bit to your batting order? Because you've got 7 batsmen in that squad. The top 4 you've mentioned, then you've still got Miller, Klaasen, Stubbs. You know, do you play all 7? Do you play all your big hitters? What's the sort of outlook there?
Won't give away all the secrets, Ken, beforehand, but look, I think the reality is IPL is slightly different given the impact player. So it does lengthen your batting lineup. It does allow teams to be more aggressive given, there's one extra batter in there. So I think that you might see a slightly different method when it comes to the World Cup. However, there's no doubt in my mind that this IPL has changed T20 cricket, changed the way that the game is going to be played moving forward. So it's important for us to maintain in front of that curve. So yeah, again, the balance of the team, is always conditions related and opposition related. So, I won't say now what the balance of the team will look like because we'll see. We'll look at what's in front of us first to decide.
I like that approach. With the from the batter's perspective, I think we have a very, very good balance. I don't think the batting really is an issue for South Africa. I like the balance that we have in the side. We've got the X factor from a guy like Quinton de Kock. We've got the reliability of a guy like Reza Hendricks. You've got the consistency and the ability to be able to switch and adapt, the adaptability of a guy like Aiden Markram. That's the word I was looking for. You got the explosive power. And I would say to a degree as well, the 360-degree game of Tristan Stubbs. You've got the explosive nature dominating factor and form of the likes of Heinrich Klaasen, who's been touted as the best T20 batter in the world at the moment. You've got the likes of the explosive power and finishing ability of the likes of David Miller, who can also adapt his game and come up the order. So I think the balance in our batting attack is fantastic, in my opinion. I think we've covered all bases. And then you've got a youngster like Ryan Rickerton, who can also adapt his game. He's very explosive in the power play, but he can also adapt his game and stick it out if he needs to, if we get a little bit of tricky conditions. We also got a lot of guys that can play against spin, that are good against spin. The likes of Aiden Markram, Tristan Stubbs, and Heinrich Klaasen are 3 very good batters against spin. So I think we've covered all our bases over there, and I like what I've seen from that perspective. So with the batting, I'm not really worried at all. Smash the like button,
Thanks,
guys.
Ken. We'll go Telford next. Nathan, I will give Neil a chance first, and then we'll take the follow-ups. Thanks, Telford.
Thanks, Lucy. Evening, Rob.
Hi, Telford.
Hi. When you look at players like Heinrich, who's not having the greatest IPL, and Marco Jansen has only played the 1 game there, probably through no fault of his own. Do you consider that something of a gamble, picking them? Are you a betting man, in other words?
Definitely not a betting man. I never have been. But no, I just trust the quality of the players. Heinrich, he's got another month before that World Cup starts. So no doubt that he'll hit his straps. It's good to see that his speed is up, and along with playing and more time training, he'll start to get his feel back, no doubt. And Marco, the same. We are in touch with these guys continuously, just ensuring that they're putting in the work. They understand that the turnaround is short, and that they need to be ready when the time comes. And to be fair, we're not the only team in that position, so we just need to trust the quality of the players and make sure that in whichever way we do it, we need to hit the ground running.
I'm actually not too worried about Anrich. This might be the first World Cup he gets to play. So I'm not too worried about Anrich Nokia. I think there's enough time for him to get ready and get fit. So far, he's been playing full matches, so he's looking like he's up to speed, like Rob says. So if the coach trusts that he will be ready, then I trust it too. But luckily, we've got, if he does pull up and he does get injured, the reserves are perfect, in my opinion. We've selected a very balanced side here, and I think that we are pretty much covered when it comes to all aspects of our squad. Maybe you can say that in the batting department, some people might say that we may be one batter light in case there's more than one injury. But I think Ryan Rickleton covers more than one position in the squad, which is really good. Tristan Stubbs covers more than one position. David Miller as well as Heinrich and Aiden. So the entire middle order can cover anywhere from 3 to 6. So from that perspective, I'm happy. I'm not so worried about that aspect of our game.
Thanks, Telford. Neil?
Hi, Rob. Sorry, England have got a warm-up series against Pakistan, and the ECB have just announced that all of their players will be available for that, which means that all their IPL players will miss the playoffs and the knockout stages. I just wondered whether that was ever something that you requested, or would you have liked that, or are you happy to cast the net wide?
I mean, in an ideal world, you'd like to come together for the period of time before the campaign, but sometimes that's not possible. For me, the most important thing is that the guys are playing, wherever that may be. The West Indies series prior, obviously, initially would have been set aside as preparation for World Cup, but it does give us an opportunity to get the World Cup players that have not been part of the IPL into some competitive cricket. Get them playing. We've been able to obviously bring a few extra players in to broaden our net, as you've said. So there's also benefits to that. Again, it's I trust that the guys are doing the work. They play a hell of a lot of cricket, have played a hell of a lot of cricket, and so to come together and get together quickly, that's on us. We need to do that. This is our situation. There's no point in bemoaning what might or could be, and just deal with what we have in front of us.
And given that the squad can still be changed as well, we have to take that into consideration too. The squad can still change up till the 18th of May. This will probably be a situation where we get a shootout between certain players that could possibly still make it. I mean, Ryan Rickleton is going to play in this. Riza Hendricks is going to play in this as well. So there is a chance, maybe perhaps for Rassie and Matthew Brzezinski to maybe put up their hand and say, you know what, maybe I can be selected in the squad. It's also an opportunity for Lungin Giri to maybe fight for a first squad place as well. He's not going up against any of the bowlers he's competing with other than with Neil Bartman, really. So this is going to be an amazing opportunity for those guys. But I'm also very excited for the guy like Naba Peter, who's a youngster. And I think that's a great one for the future. And we can see how he can really cope with the international pressure when it comes to that. So exciting. I never mentioned on the show who our coaching staff or management will be. So JP Dumini is our batting coach, and Eric Simons will be our bowling coach, and Wandile Guavo will be the fielding coach. So those are the main positions that I'm going to mention because I think those are the important ones. So just to give you guys a heads up on what's happening on that side with the coaching staff as well.
Thanks, Neil. Cool. We'll look to take a couple of follow-ups. Nathan, then Firdous.
Thank you very much again, Lucy. Rob, with that provincial squad against West Indies, there is a sense of players being picked to perform domestically, the likes of Namba Peter, Matt Bretsky. But how pleased are you with the level of cricket, domestic cricket in the T20 tournament this past season where the Lions were victorious?
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to be able to reward guys who perform. That's the ideal. You know, having a strong group of players pushing the top squad is imperative to any sport, and in our sport, it's no different. So, the domestic competition, people have potentially questioned the quality of it. In my opinion, I saw really good cricket. You saw players that were successful in the SA20 continue to be successful in our domestic competition. And, just having guys play, I've spoken to a number of players who've said just being able to have another 14 games of T20 cricket has been awesome for them, as much as there's been reports of others who've said potentially it hasn't. So, yeah, I'm chuffed just that the guys were playing. There was some good cricket and some average cricket, but there were some standout performances, and we've got those performers that are going to now have a chance to put their skills at a higher level, which is great.
Good to hear that he said there was some average cricket. At
Thanks,
least he admitted
Nathan.
that.
Firdous and Zahir.
Rob, I guess you're not the only team with this issue of having not played a lot of international T20 cricket, but just what does that do in terms of your own planning? Because, I mean, it would have been like 6 months, that you haven't played as a team. So how can you get things to gel?
Look, one of our key focuses has been to stay connected. Obviously, it's virtually, but, we have regular get-togethers as bowling units, batting unit, leadership, individual conversations with the players. So, yeah, I mean, we've done our level best to stay connected with the group. And that's a wider group, to continually talk about how we want to play the game, how each player fits into that game plan, what their game needs to look like in order for us to deliver our best as a team. So yeah, it's been great to stay connected with the players, albeit over the screen.
Okay, so they are okay.
Thanks,
That's
Firdous.
new.
Zahir, then Keenan.
How's it, Rob? Just wanted to ask you, in the context of South African cricket, if you look back based virtually till 2007, South Africa always had a target of 15 players of color going into a World Cup. With the no selection panel at the moment and just a head coach, you've obviously not reached that target. What was the discussion like with whether it was with Enoch or with the board in terms of getting the squad approved to go to the World Cup, and particularly with the fact that there's only one Black African in the squad?
Yeah, look, I mean, the reality is, my number one imperative is to create a winning Proteas team. In order to do that, every time I pick a side, I've got to pick the best team at the time that I think will give us a chance of doing that. Look, that said, the system needs to really up the ante, so that in 6 months, 12 months, or 2 years' time, and in particular when we reach the 2027 World Cup at home, that the demographics and the representation in our team starts to look a bit different, and does look a bit different. So, outside of the World Cup, we'll continue to use our bilateral series to do exactly that, to grow our base of players, to create international opportunity, to give opportunity for players to put their skills at a higher level, and just make sure that we've bought in and are delivering on a process that's going to change what our team looks like as we move forward.
Yeah,
Thanks, Zahir. Keenan, then Kanyiso.
very straightforward.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, Rob. Just in terms of the pitches in West Indies and America, and also your selection of 3 spinners in the squad, just how do you expect that to play, and how do you expect, and obviously you selected your team around that. Just are you expecting slow, low wickets, and is that why you went for the 3 spinners?
We've actually got 4 spinners in Aiden Markram, so don't leave him out of the conversation. Yeah, look, so part of it is also backup. In case of injury, to ensure that we're able to balance our team accordingly. So, much like the 50 over World Cup, we will continue to explore based on conditions, whether it's a 3-3 split seam spin or a 4-2 seam spin split. And yeah, it's just having the different spin options available to us in order to put the best team on the park relative to the conditions and the opposition.
Thanks, Keenan. Kaniso, then Fani.
We kind of
Thank you
covered
very
that
much,
already.
Lucy. I'll just condense my two short questions into one. Rob, just take us through Ngaba Peter, what you've seen of him, what's impressed you so much about him and Patrick Kruger, and then just talk us through having Nandre back, but also having Nokia back, but shifting Lungi and Nandre onto the traveling reserves.
Okay, I'll start with Ngaba. Yeah, I've watched a lot of him play. In fact, he bowled to us in the nets in East London in the one-day series against West Indies when I first started with the team, and impressed us there. Unfortunately, he was able to move to the Lions to get some, to move to a Div 1 team, and got some opportunity, to play this year. He's a very exciting prospect. He bowls the ball nice and quickly, very Rashid Khan-like, without throwing a massive heap of pressure onto his shoulders. So please don't quote that, but just we see similarities in the way he bowls and in his method. So as a guy who's just completed his first T20 campaign, we just thought the West Indies was a perfect opportunity to bring him along, expose him to an international tour, and include him, with our staff, and get him to understand how we're looking to play the game. So from an overall development point of view, it's a perfect opportunity there. And then as far as the bowling goes,
You see, from that perspective, I agree with Rob 100%, because there is a need for us to find the next wrist spinner. We can't just be relying on Tabrei Shamsi forever. And this is a perfect opportunity to allow a young, talented player to play with to be with a coaching staff that is experienced and against a good opposition. West Indies are no slouches when it comes to T20 cricket. So this is a perfect opportunity, I think, for someone like him to learn from the experience. I don't think we should heap pressure on him too much as a fan base either, because we need to support our younger players as they develop their games. So it's going to be a very good test for him very early in his career. And in this case, in this particular scenario, I approve personally, I approve the fact that they have gone with his selection as a youngster, even though he's had one season. Because as a wrist spinner, and particularly bowlers, you can fast track them easier into a side than I feel batters, in my opinion. Because when you have an issue as a batter, it takes a very long time to iron it out and to unlearn those mistakes. As a bowler, I think there's some tweaks you can do, and you would have been caught out already early on in your career if your technique is off. So yeah, that's something that I agree with.
It's been a very tough choosing the seam component of our 15 squad, and not a hell of a lot to separate the two. But I mean, the one thing that Anrik does have that separates him from others is raw pace. There's not many guys who can bowl 150. He can. He's shown, in the last year that he's a quality competitor, and that that pace is an X factor. And in particular, we understand as a team that taking the top 4 wickets in the first 10 overs is a large success rate in terms of winning games of cricket. And from a stats point of view, he's been very successful there. So there wasn't much to separate the two, but that's probably where he gets the edge.
Okay.
Thanks, Kaniso.
And Patrick Kruger.
Sorry.
Patrick Kruger, yes.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Sorry, Pat. Look, the great thing with the SA20 and then into the domestic challenge was that Pat bowled a lot. I've said since beginning, we really need to broaden our base of all-rounders.
Well done, Rob.
So batting all-rounders, but also bowling all-rounders. And he's shown the power and the touch that he brings at the end with the bat. So again, just a really cool opportunity to reward him for his cricket over the last 4 months in particular. and grow this the all-round base with which we play the short format of the game.
You see, Patrick Kruger actually suits that from a, how can I say, from an attributes perspective. He suits that type of big hitting all-rounder that we have been looking for. I think he is he's more of a big hitter than some of the other guys. He's a guy that can really smack the ball very long as well. And the fact that he's bowling more, that's very important to South Africa. So I like that Rob has put emphasis on the fact that we need to find more all-rounders. So kudos to him. I've said that we need to do that for quite some time. I think this has been so far one of Rob's best press conferences so far, in my opinion, on the way he's answered everything. There is logical explanations and reasons that he's given for every single selection so far. He's really starting to get to know his squad now and the players in our domestic system and in our system. So I'm really, really enjoying this. Smash the like if you
Great,
do
thanks,
too.
Kaniso. Fani, then Johan.
Yo, come now.
Fani, you're not unmuted.
I'm sorry, Rob.
Still making muting mistakes.
Kanisu might have asked my question, but just on Lungi, he has an amazing strike rate in the national T20 cricket of 13, 60 wickets in 40 matches. Was the fact that he was injured the last couple of months, was that a factor maybe?
No, because the same could be said for Unrich. So it wasn't that. The injuries happen. Again, I could come and bring stats to counter as I have already had. It's a very tight decision of the two. At the end of the day, I think the main thing is someone who bowls at the in the 150 zone, especially given who we play in our the pool games at the start. I think that pace does bring an X factor and does give us a better chance of being successful.
Whoa. So that gives us a little bit extra information about Lungi Ngidi. So the reason was not the fitness of Lungi Ngidi that he wasn't selected. The thought process here is an analysis of the teams that they're playing against, and that X factor pace is important. So that gives us an explanation on what Rob was thinking. So Lungi Ngidi is not in the squad because he was looking for pace, particularly with the teams that we have played against in the first in our group stages matches. So very interesting thoughts there. I thought that Rob might have spoken about the fact that he's not fit, because in my opinion, as a bowler, Lungi Ngidi is possibly one of our best T20 bowlers in this format, and I'm surprised that was the answer. So that is a very, very interesting analysis of his selection with regards to that.
Thanks, Fani. Johan?
Hi there, Rob. Is there any clarity on the warm-up matches in America before you join?
The warm-up matches.
Any charity?
No, clarity about warm-up matches.
Clarity.
Oh, sorry. Any clarity? The only clarity I have is that we're playing three warm-up games in the West Indies. So that's all I can give you.
Three warm-up
but
games.
not somewhere in Florida before the tournament.
Oh, the warm-up. Yeah, we're playing one warm-up game in Florida prior to the main competition starting.
You don't know against who at this time?
I believe it's against Sri Lanka.
Thanks, Johan. I just wanted to check, Neil, is that an old or new hand?
Probably old hand.
Old one, sorry. Apologies.
No worries. Then we'll throw over to Zahir and then
these
Ongama,
guys.
and then we'll look to take the last questions.
How's it, Rob? Again, it's without wanting to labor the points, wanting to understand fully what you said earlier in terms of you providing opportunities around the squad, but you picking a World Cup squad and you want the best players. Have CSA as the board or Enoch basically given you the approval to pick this side in terms, obviously you've picked it, but the approval to say we can go one short in this tournament, or we can because it's a World Cup, especially. Was that the directive you've been given, basically?
I mean, no squad that I pick gets picked without discussion with the director of cricket. So simple as that.
So
That's very important there, that the director of cricket, coaches on the same page.
it's an enough question to answer, basically.
You can ask him if you like.
Okay.
Thanks, Ahir. We'll go on Gama, and then if there's no further questions, we'll look to wrap with Nathan.
Thanks, Lucy. Rob, I just want to know if like obviously this is a provisional squad, World Cup squad. Is it a possibility that it's going to change, given that there isn't there's still a month of IPL to play, and there's some players who don't necessarily have a good form. So is it a possibility that the squad is going to change?
I mean, yeah, there is a possibility. We have up until the 25th of May to change the squad without medical reasons. Obviously, we've picked the squad as we have for a reason. However, you know, if for whatever reason it comes to the 25th and we feel a change needs to be made in order for that then to become our best team, to give us the best chance, then there is a chance to do that, yes.
Okay. So there's still opportunities.
Thanks.
I doubt it will change
we'll
too
go
much.
Nathan. As here, I'll give you the opportunity. I don't know if that's an old hand or a new hand.
Thank you very much again, Lucy. Rob, when picking a squad, some players unfortunately have to miss out, the likes of Rihanna, Timba, and a few others. Was there a conversation with those players on their omission from the squad?
Yep, I've chatted to probably a group of 30 plus players in the last 3 days around selection and non-selection. So yeah, we do our best to communicate with those who we feel were in the mix and who were close to selection but didn't quite get there. And you know, as much as it's nice to make good phone calls, I really feel for the guys who miss out. You've got really good people working really hard on their games, that are really good cricketers who, you know, training hard to live their dream of going to a World Cup. I'm the one that has to tell them that that's not going to happen. I really do feel for those guys. It's not easy, and it's not easy for me, but certainly a lot harder for them to deal with the reality that, you know, that won't happen.
At least it's communication. That's very important.
Great, thank you.
We've always said that. We needed that communication with the players. That's always something that we've always asked for. I'm going to give a quick call in for you guys. If you want to call into the show, I'm going to provide the link. Try to keep it short, though. I just want to get your thoughts on the squad, who you would have selected, who has been left out, etc. So I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds. 30 seconds to a minute or two to just discuss who you would have liked to see, who you're not happy with, etc. I'm going to pin it to the live in the live chat right now for you guys, so that you can have easy access to it. So you guys can call in if you want to have your say. I'm going to give you guys some time now to get your bearings in order, so that you can call into the show and have your comments with regards to that. In the meantime, I'm going to read some of your comments out. So let's get that. Let me get that going so long until you guys call in. We've got our first call in already. Kelly's here. How's it, Kelly? Welcome to the show.
Hi,
What's your thoughts on the World Cup squad? Who do you feel has been left out or omitted, or are you happy with the overall balance of the squad?
I feel that Anrich was lucky. And Andre Berger was slightly unlucky. Insofar as spinners are concerned, I'm a little worried that Bjorn Fontaine and Keshav Maharaj offer the same thing, because they're both slow left armers. But we have got Aiden in reserve, as a part-timer, he's also not the most, he hasn't got the most variations. It feels more like Bjorn's a bit of a backup, you know? Keshav's probably going to be starting. Braze will be the option when we need 2 spinners. I can't see us playing 3. But Bjorn does deserve the call-up, 100%. I just feel like there's a bit of sameness there. And while I understand the omission for the omission of Berger in favor of a specialist death bowler in Bartman, where we have none, we really don't have one. Nokia can't bowl at death. Nandre is a new ball bowler. We've already got new ball bowlers. And we often open with spinners, which means that that Nandre's greatest strength is negated because he often gets a bit of swing with that new ball. So if you're not opening with Anrich or Rabada, you're going to have to give it to him and give Anrich or Rabada an old ball.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Anrich. He wouldn't be there, but Rabada could see an old ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. When it comes to the batting, I mean, particularly, I want to ask you about the batters and how do you see us lining up? Are you happy with the batting setup and the players that have been selected?
I'm very happy with the players that have been selected. I do think Vian Mulder is a bit unlucky, and probably it'll be a bit of a fight out, I think. We'll see how the West Indies goes. I think the middle order will probably get a non-traveling reserve as a backup. I think the middle order, as we speak, has entrenched themselves. I don't see us putting anyone. Aiden's going to have to play 3. I simply can't see guys like Klaas in middle or Stubbs, and it'll probably be Stubbs because he's the youngest, sitting out. So it'll have to be between Rix, Reza, and Quinny for the top 2. And obviously things can change, but then Aiden 3 and the other 3, the beauty of those 3 is that they can float.
Yeah.
And I think Janssen is underrated at 7. He had a superb SA20.
Yeah, I agree. The final thoughts?
Final thoughts were on Rob's comment on transformation. I'm glad he finally said something because there's a bigger issue here. It's not simply about representation. It's about quality representation. And CSA has spent years making it about numbers rather than nurturing. They have failed to provide adequate structures and oversight at grassroots level. And I see sheer talent week after week in club cricket. Yet the door is shut at Western Province to these players. It's inadvertently split along racial lines still. I mean, it needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed by people who are not the national coaches. It's above their pay grade. You could see it's a lot harder than rugby, but you can use as an example. The Springboks only started to transform after at least half a decade of an elite development player or elite development program for the players. They focused on coaches, structures, monitoring, oversight. That's where they put their money where their mouth is. And you know, CSA has got to own up, you know, to the fact that they were lazy in the past. And I saw it firsthand, and it has frustrated me for years.
Ditto. Thanks, Kelly, for calling in. I'll get you on a show again in the near future.
Sure.
I got another caller waiting in the back end. I 100% agree with regards to the transformation. Because I obviously Western Province is a good example. I'm there firsthand to see Western Province and what it happens. There's a lot of low quality players of color that get selected when there are other quality players that are getting left out or have to move provinces even to go find game time. So we need to invest in the domestic setup as well as the grassroots setup and make sure that we add those players into the setup from a very young age. Under 19s need to be looked at. The cult system needs to be looked at. That's where we should be giving more opportunities, because if those players can up their game at that level, then they'll be good enough to be selected purely on their ability. Peter is a good example of that. He's come through the system and he's performed and done really well at the Lions in a star-studded side, and now he's getting his opportunities. That's how we should be giving our players of color opportunities and picking the best players of color available to us in the right scenario. So yeah, I agree with that. Ditto over there with regards to that. We've got a caller waiting for us right now. So Resh is in the back end. Welcome to the show, bro. What would you like to say about the squad? Who are your players that you're happy with that have been selected? Are you happy with all 15? Is there maybe someone that you feel is unlucky to miss out? Have you say, bro? I can't hear you. There's no sound. No sound. Just see if you can reconnect. There, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got a call from the work. I'm currently. I usually follow your shows most of the time. I'm from Nepal. So
Okay, he's gonna probably call back in. He's getting phone calls. He's a popular man tonight. Let me get into some of your comments section. Sorry guys, there's a hell of a lot of comments here. I can't get to every single thing. Smash the like button, subscribe, please. Let me get into some of your comments at the bottom over here. I think Suresh might call back in. He's from Nepal. We're gonna be playing against them in the World Cup, so interesting. Sam says our batters problem is chasing. Yeah, we've had a problem with chasing in the past. I've seen some brilliant performances from chasers in the IPL from like the likes of Handy Klaasen and Tristan Stubbs recently. So I'm hoping. And David Miller's been really good at chasing in plenty of games for South Africa. So I think he's that we have kind of sorted that issue out. I hope. So let's hope for it. Suresh is back in the back end again. Let's hope that that he that we can hear him now. Welcome to the show, bro. You can have a go.
Yeah, one of my colleagues kept calling me. I'm on work right now, work from home. Actually, my inputs in on the George Linde. What's your input on he's not been selected on this squad? Because I have been following the SA cricket for a long time, and I feel like he should be in the squad given that his performance on the last tour of the West Indies, since the World Cup is happening in the West Indies and USA, right? What's your input on the George Linde?
My input on George Linde, 100%. It's always been this. I've said that George Linde is a type of player that doesn't bat in that 7 position, 6 position. He's not that type of all-rounder, in my opinion, a finishing type of all-rounder. When he bats for Western Province, etc., whenever he does get a chance to play, he bats 4, 5, high up the order. He's a type of guy that, more like a player that needs to get himself settled in and then go. There are occasions where he can put up his hand and really go big. But George's form recently has been really bad across all the formats that he's played for every single team that he's played so far. So I think SA20 wasn't that great, and as well in the Pakistan Super League where he played, he wasn't that great either. So he's also was injured, had a massive injury, came back and struggled all season to find form across all formats. And I think that's maybe the reason. And when it comes to the spinning aspect of his game, Bjorn Fortuin over the last 3 years has been a better spinner. So if you're going to look at it from that perspective, you either pick one player that can do the spinning all-rounder role, and I think we have that in Aiden Markram. Can provide a couple of overs and then he can bat up the order. Or you go with a guy that can all-out spin, and that is Bjorn Fortuin, in my opinion. When you look at the two spinners and put them against each other, I back Bjorn more as a spinner alone. But that's just an opinion.
Okay.
And what I think about it.
How do you see the challenge that Nepal is going to bring up to the South African players, given that they will be facing each other an upcoming year? I mean, this World Cup.
I'm not going to lie. I don't watch a lot of Nepal cricket, so I don't have a massive knowledge on the players. But what I can tell you is South Africa, anything can happen. Against South Africa, really anything can happen. We do not know what could happen with South Africa. I sat last time in the World Cup angry, ranting on this channel about the Netherlands knocking us out in a game that we should have won.
I had
We had
I had to face a lot of abuse from my friend because of that, dude. I have been a huge fan of the South African cricket since long time, like 2010.
So you give me your input on Nepal. What's your thoughts on it? Tell me about some of the players that stand out, or what you think of their chances.
Well, one of the player, he's really good in Nepal. His name is DS Ari. He's a quality all-rounder. He's in a top 10 all-rounder list in the world right now. So his spinning will be very crucial for the South Africans to play, given that the slower tracks on the West Indies and on the, I think US track will not be that slow, but West Indies, I feel like it's gonna be slow track, right? So Dipender Singh Oiri, Sandeep Lamichhane, if you haven't heard about him, he was the first person who played for the IPL from Nepal. And the next guy will be Kusal Malla. He hits the ball long way.
So your last thoughts from you. I want to know what you think South Africa's chances are in this World Cup.
South Africa definitely on top, without a doubt. But anything can happen, like you mentioned.
Anything can happen. Yeah, like we heard them say, like South Africa is a type of team.
If South Africa plays in the Nepal, it's gonna be tough for them. That's for sure.
Yeah, South Africa is the type of team that can beat anybody on the day, but they can also lose to anybody on the day. So that's just how we've seen them. But Suresh, thanks a lot for tuning in and calling in. We'll have another calling show. I hope you call in again in the future.
Sure.
Thanks for your comments and thanks for the support. Yeah, so we've had two callers, some good insight. I love these calling shows. I'm going to do them a lot more in the future. I will be trying to get a more regular call-in show from the World Cup perspective. For our review shows during the World Cup, generally speaking, all of them are call-in shows. So fans get a chance to call in on every single review show. So I hope that after every game, seeing that we're going to be playing majority of the games at 4:30 in South African Standard Time, the live shows will be around our general screening time, so our usual times that we stream live. So there's an opportunity for all of you guys to have a say. I want to make this more interactive. I want more fans to call in and and share their opinions, because that's what the show is supposed to be all about. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click that notification bell for all future videos. I will be doing a show a little bit later this week, either tomorrow, Thursday or Friday, where I will be reading your comments out predominantly. So bring your comments. If I didn't read them out on this show, I'll read them out on a future show that will be dedicated to your comments alone. So please go ahead and do that for us. And smash the like button. If you're on Facebook and watching on Facebook, go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and click the notification bell for all future videos, please, because you get live notifications, pop-up notifications on when we go live with the show. So please go and do that if you enjoy the shows and you want to be updated on when we go live. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. I'll see you guys again for another daily cricket show. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out, everyone.